What in the world is going on with the supposed decline of intelligence in our younger generations? I mean, seriously, have you taken a good look around? It's like we're trapped in the land of the brainless, with the rise of the dumbed-down zombie army shuffling through life. And let me tell you, it's not exactly a sight for sore eyes. Um, I mean, have you seen the mind-boggling content on platforms like TikTok? It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of mind-numbing nonsense that'll make you question the very fabric of our society. So my friends, let's put on our thinking caps and explore this baffling phenomenon together. Brace yourself, because it's going to be a wild ride. Now, I'm no expert, but even a blind squirrel could see that something ain't right. I stumbled upon this viral video the other day where middle school teachers were venting their frustration about the intellectual capacity of their students. Now, I don't know about you, but when 7th graders are performing at a 4th grade level, alarm bells start ringing in my head. I mean, come on, kids. It's time to put down the avocado toast and pick up a book. I would think being an English teacher to the current generations has been quite the circus, I must say. Even as I navigate the wild and wacky world of the internet, I've encountered students who struggle to spell simple words like window or important, and constructing a complete sentence, it's often more mind-boggling than trying to launch a rocket to the moon with a slingshot. Well, imagine my sheer disbelief watching a teenager struggle to pick a favorite color or fumble through basic nursery rhymes. It's like we've entered an alternate universe where intelligence has become a rare and endangered species, but we can't just play the blame game and point fingers at these poor kids. The responsibility falls on all of us, parents and teachers alike. Parents, let's face it, we can't just rely on schools to do all the heavy lifting when it comes to education. It's time to unleash our inner homeschooling gurus and take an active role in our children's learning. Now, I'm not suggesting we morph into eccentric scholars donning tweed jackets with elbow patches, lecturing our kids on the intricacies of quadratic equations like eccentric mad scientists. But hey, a little extra effort in nurturing their minds wouldn't hurt, right? Let's sprinkle some educational enchantment into their lives and see what wonders unfold. And speaking of schools, let's not forget that they have their flaws too. It's almost like they're churning out obedient worker bees instead of nurturing the next generation's creativity and personal growth. We need to shake things up and embrace alternatives like gamified learning and homeschooling. Let's prioritize actual reading, writing, arithmetic, music, arts, and critical thinking skills. Who knows? Maybe we'll see the rise of a new Renaissance era. Now let me take a moment to talk about society and its obsession with instant gratification. We've become a generation that can't sit still for 5 minutes without checking our phones. It seems like our attention spans are shorter than the lifespan of a mayfly. I blame it on social media and its incessant need for superficiality and sensationalism. We're so caught up in the pursuit of likes, shares, and retweets that we've forgotten how to engage in meaningful discussions and develop our analytical skills. But fear not, my friends, for all hope is not lost. It's important to remember that intelligence is a complex trait that can't be solely measured by academic performance. We're all unique individuals with different strengths and abilities. So, let's not go around judging each other based on IQ scores and report cards. Let's pivot and find some balance. Technology, when wielded wisely, becomes a potent force for learning and collaboration. Let's tap into that power for good and nurture critical thinking skills. Guide the youngsters to see tech as a gateway to knowledge, not a bottomless pit of mindless scrolling. But here's the real kicker. Rather than focusing solely on blaming technology or certain platforms, let's shift our attention to empowering and educating the next generation. It starts with quality education, promoting critical thinking and problem-solving skills, and fostering a love for reading and learning. Let's encourage open-mindedness and intellectual curiosity. Let's create an environment that values intelligence, not just in the form of book smarts, but in emotional intelligence, social intelligence, and practical intelligence. One aspect that deserves our attention is the good old education system. I mean, come on, it's about time we give it a makeover. It often feels like schools are stuck in a time warp. teaching the same centuries-old subjects as if we were still riding around in horse-drawn carriages. We need to shake things up and bring some innovation into the mix. How about a class on meme deciphering? Or maybe a course on the art of witty comebacks? Trust me, those skills are way more valuable in the real world than memorizing every ruler in history or the quadratic formula. But let's not forget the power of pop culture in shaping our intellects. Now, I'm all for a good binge watch session or getting lost in the world of video games, but let's admit it, folks, mindless entertainment has taken over our lives. We're so busy keeping up with the latest Kardashian drama or following the exploits of viral internet stars that we forget there's a whole world of knowledge waiting for us. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should all become bookworms and forsake our favorite guilty pleasures, but maybe it's time to strike a balance, like watching a documentary instead of the 10th episode of that reality TV show. And speaking of balance, let's talk about the almighty smartphone. It's an amazing invention, no doubt, but it's also become a constant companion, like a clingy friend who never leaves your side. We're so glued to our screens that we've forgotten how to interact with the real world. You know, those things called face-to-face conversations and actual eye contact. It's like we're turning into a generation of thumb warriors, swiping and tapping our way through life. Maybe it's time to put the phone down and engage in some good old-fashioned human interaction. Who knows? You might discover that the person sitting next to you on the bus is actually quite fascinating. All right, folks, let's take a dive into the impact of good old laziness. We're living in a world of instant gratification where everything we desire is just a quick click away. So why put in the effort to read a whole book or solve complex problems when we can take shortcuts and quick fixes? We got to remember that greatness doesn't sprout from laziness, but from hard work, perseverance, and the hunger to challenge ourselves. Technology, the modern-day double-edged sword. On one hand, it opens doors to knowledge and global connections. On the flip side, it's a breeding ground for distractions and mindless entertainment. With great power comes great responsibility, right? Let's take that to heart. Instead of endless social media scrolling, let's use our devices to seek knowledge, have meaningful discussions, and expand our minds. Now, on to our tech pals. The virtual assistants. They play tunes, answer questions, crack a joke. But let's face it, folks, sometimes they're a bit lacking in the smarts department. How many times have Siri or Alexa left you scratching your head with a completely unrelated answer? It's like they've got a mind of their own. And that mind is just as confused as we are. And let's not even get started on the whole fake news phenomenon. As if navigating the complexities of the world wasn't hard enough, now we have to wade through a sea of misinformation and clickbait headlines just to find the truth. It's like playing a never-ending game of guess who, but with no clear winners and a whole lot of confusion. Now let me take a moment to address a topic that seems to be on everyone's minds. The rise of conspiracy theories. Oh boy, where do I even begin? Conspiracy theories, my friends, are like a never-ending buffet of outrageous and often hilarious ideas. From flat earth believers to lizard people ruling the world, there's no shortage of wild claims circulating in the depths of the internet. It's like watching a never-ending reality show where logic and reason take a back seat and pure imagination reigns supreme. All right, folks. Let me lay it on you straight when it comes to these conspiracy theories that are rattling around these days. We all know they can be a wild roller coaster ride, but let's not kid ourselves here. They're no substitute for good old-fashioned critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning. I mean, seriously, the next time someone comes at you with the idea that the moon landing was faked or that there's a secret cabal controlling the world through mind-altering trails in the sky, it's time to take a step back and ask yourself, does this even pass the laugh test?